Are you looking to add a little bit of action to your online video, but you don't want to spend a whole bunch of money on something like the DJI Osmo Action? Well, today I'm going to show you what is still the best budget action camera, even here in the future of 2019. What's up everyone? I'm the Everyday Dad, and if I can figure it out, you can figure it out. Now, it is no secret, I have been recommending the Lite as my favorite budget action camera for what, like 2 years now? Some of the first videos we ever made on the Everyday Dad were about the Lite, and you can get them now for like 50 bucks. Let that sink in. That is nothing compared to the brand new DJI Osmo Action, which is 350 bucks. So today we're gonna compare the two, and I'm gonna try to show you that the Lite is still totally value added if you're trying to add a little more unique, you're trying to add some action shots, because you don't wanna spend too much, because this is not reviewing the cheapest, but it's like video on a budget. We're still looking for a fancy name for it, but this is gonna be our way of showing you how you can create better videos on a budget. So the Lite is a fantastic action camera. It has a tiny little sensor, much like the Osmo Action. It can record in up to 4K 15 frames per second, so it can't, that's a joke. It can't really actually record in any usable 4K, so it is gonna be a strictly 1080p action camera. Now it can do 1080p and up to 60 frames per second, which for the price, 50 bucks again. Okay, I checked, I was wrong. It's 80 bucks, not 50 bucks, 80 bucks. Still a fantastic deal though. For that price, again, you can get 1080p 60 frames per second, which is a very good. I prefer 1080p 60 when I'm doing action stuff. I like 60 frames per second. It gives you a little more leeway to slow down if you want to, but I feel like it makes action look smoother. I don't like 60 frames per second for stuff like this. This I'm dabbling in 24 frames per second, though I've been a 30 frames per second shooter most of the time. When it comes to the Lite, let's compare it against the 5 pillars of action that we normally talk about for action cameras. First up, image quality. Now the Lite has fantastic image quality, especially for the price. It used to be 100 bucks, now it's 80 bucks. And for that, you get a very usable 1080p image. I think it looks really great. When we compare it against something like the Osmo Action does have the ability to do up to 4K 60 frames per second. It has the ability to do like slow motion 1080p at 240 frames per second. It does do better with skin tones, but how much better? Is it worth 7 times the amount? That's public math, don't judge my public math. I don't know, I still think the Lite does a great job. The image quality looks fantastic. I say image quality for the pillars of action, but if you see my camera reviews, you know that I think that video quality is broken down into 2 parts, both the image and the audio. And the nice thing, it's both a blessing and a curse about the Lite, is it has great microphones. The curse of that is it's not fully waterproof. We'll talk more about this in ease of use. It's not fully waterproof, but because of that, you get some really great audio. So it's, you know, a little bit of good, a little bit of bad, you know, don't get caught, a little bit of thunder, a little bit of lightning. So I think it has great image quality. Next up, ease of use. Now the biggest benefit that the Lite has, for the price, you get an incredibly functional touchscreen. Like there are cameras out there that cost more than this that don't have as good of a touchscreen or that don't have as good of an interface. Like the big thing, even all this time later, is that the touchscreen on this thing is amazing. You can easily go through, change your settings. You can see we got sharpness, ISO, white balance, metering mode, video resolution, video length, interval if you want to do time lapses. You can do photo, timer, burst, video, time lapses, slow motion, video and photo at the same time. I mean, it is a very versatile action camera, and it does have, again, one of the top of the line. The Osmo Action also has a pretty usable touchscreen, and I'm not saying this to take anything away from the Osmo Action. I do really like its user interface. It's a fantastic user interface, but what makes this so good on the Lite is that for the price, you get just about the same level of functionality, which will probably be the, you know, that will be the main takeaway of the entire video, is you get a lot of the same stuff, but like for a fraction of the price. And I don't like spending that much money. That's the whole purpose of this video series that we're doing on these Saturdays, is you can get great quality without breaking the bank. Next up is compatibility with GoPro style mounts and accessories. Again, GoPro has dominated the market. Because GoPro was the first, they kind of got to create the standard, so we all live in that with their cases, their cages, their mounts, their gimbals, everything. And another big benefit of the Lite, as you can see with the Osmo Action, and the Osmo Action, by the way, is like designed in a lab to basically mimic the GoPro in every way that doesn't exactly make it a GoPro. I mean, it's darn close. So the Lite is also pretty darn close. You can see, I mean, it has basically the exact same dimensions as the Osmo Action, which means it will work with all GoPro style gimbals, it will work with all of the accessories, it will work with everything that you need it to work with. The problem is that it will not work with any real audio adapters. All it has is a micro USB out. So there's no real way to connect it to any audio. So the audio you've got in it is the audio you're gonna get. If you wanna record really good audio, you'll probably have to record off camera with something like the Zoom H1N that we talked about a few weeks ago. But for compatibility, it's really good. And the big bonus that really does that nobody else does, DJI doesn't do it, GoPro doesn't do it, but it's got a 1/4-inch tripod mount here on the bottom. See, the Osmo Action does not have that. What makes this just so fantastic is you can use just a regular tripod with these action cameras. Nothing is more frustrating to me than wanting to set a camera, any camera. It doesn't matter whether it's a pocket gimbal camera, like the Osmo Pocket. It doesn't matter if it's a pocket camera, doesn't matter if it's a regular camera. If it can't work with a regular tripod mount, that means you're gonna use a proprietary mounting system, which means if it breaks the one, if it even comes with one in the package, you break that one that comes with it, you're done, you can't mount it anymore. Or you will forget to bring like the cage that mounts to the other adapter that then mounts the tripod. I wish all cameras just had 1/4-inch mounts on them. I mean, that is such a huge benefit that the Lite, the 4K, the 4K Plus have over everything else. Ooh, that was a lot to talk about GoPro style mounts and accessories. Next up, and this is a big one, durability. Now, I don't think an action camera can be considered an action camera without being able to take a hit. Now, the DJI Osmo Action is built like a tank. I mean, it feels like it could withstand, you could probably drive over it. I'm not going to drive over it, that'd make a great video, but it definitely feels, I mean, it feels robust. I have no problem using this anywhere. It is also waterproof down to 11 meters, which is a very, very useful function. If the Lite has one big negative, it's the body design itself. Now, it's not a very robust body. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not, but it is not very substantial. Now, there is a waterproof case that you can buy for the Lite that will, increase its durability, but straight out of the box, it's not the best. That's the biggest ding. Now, I have taken this out on a lot of mountain bike trails, and where this wins is that if you have this in something like a gimbal, it is fully useful. Like, there's no big open ports on the body itself, which is something that the Discovery and other cameras of the same style kind of have a problem with. They'll leave this USB port open, and when you do that, if you take it out on the trail, the problem you're going to run into is if it's raining or if there's like mud that just like gets flecked up on you because trails are dirty. I mean, there's dirt out in the woods, people. I don't know if you knew this or not, but if you do that, that leaves that gunk away to destroy your camera from the inside. So I do like, for durability, that it has all of these ports. That's incredibly useful. And last but certainly not least, stabilization. Now I've been saying this for literally years. The coolest part about the Lite is it has electronic image stabilization built into it. And that, for the price, for $80, you get good 1080p, you get good audio, and you get electronic image stabilization. Like, that's insane. That is such a good deal. And is the stabilization perfect? No. My biggest complaint is that this doesn't have any way to like reduce the fisheye warp, and sometimes the stabilization in certain situations, it will make that worse. Like, somehow the stabilization makes the fisheye like warp more, like it makes it more fishy. Electronic image stabilization on the Lite can sometimes make it more fishy, like a bad guy in a Saturday morning cartoon. The Osmo Action, on the other hand, has DJI's Rocksteady technology, which is, it's legitimately fantastic. I mean, it is as good, if not better, than the GoPro Hero 7 Black's hyper smooth stabilization. I mean, it's fantastic stuff. So as we've been talking about this entire video, can you get the same level of, you can basically get the same level of functionality from the Lite out of the Osmo Action. You know what we're gonna do real quick? Let's hop outside and do a quick, because you might be wanting to use these as vlogging cameras. Let's see what they can do in that regards. See ya out there. Okay, and this is the vlogging test of the most expensive action camera versus the budget action camera. The Lite and the Osmo Action. These are two very seriously stacked cameras, and you can see that right here on the vlogging test. So they're both set to auto mode. They are both set to 1080p 30. because the Lite cannot do 24 frames per second, unfortunately. It can do 1080p 30 and 1080p 60, and as a bonus, it can do 4K, 15? Hooray! That means it can't do 4K. People always get mad at me when I make these videos and I say that it can't do 4K. 15 frames per second is not enough for like natural motion blur, so you will never ever use that. But yeah, this is the image quality that you can expect between both. Both do have electronic image stabilization turned on. Both are set to auto white balance. This is the audio out of the Lite. Audio test 1, 2, 3. Audio test 1, 2, 3. And this is the audio out of the Osmo Action. Audio test 1, 2, 3. Audio test 1, 2, 3. So between the vlogging test that you're seeing right now, is the Osmo Action worth like what? 7 times the price, 50 bucks against 350 bucks? I don't know. You'll have to decide if that little bit of extra quality is worth it to you. Okay, back inside because the mosquitoes are out. Ooh, there's one right on the action camera right now. See you there. Ooh. So at the end of the day, yes, the Osmo Action is the superior camera. It's got the front screen, it's got better stabilization, better audio, better image quality, better skin tones, better everything. I mean, it should have better everything. It's 350 bucks. The point of this video is not that you should go out and get an Osmo Action. The point of this video is that if you're looking to get an action camera to get some more unique shots in your video, or you're looking for just a small camera that you can fit places that you can't fit a big camera, or you can't fit a medium-sized camera, or you can't fit another medium-sized camera, I think the Lite is a very good option. Great 1080p. Decent stabilization, great audio, amazing usability with that touchscreen, very budget-friendly price. Like, I cannot. It's been 2 years and there's still nothing else in the market that I would recommend over the Lite. It's just a fantastic budget action camera. I highly, highly recommend it. Thanks for watching.